I am Portia Gabo.
And my name is Pa Kwesi Asari. And coming up in the next 60 minutes.
News360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Staff of Tetakwashi Hospital demand comprehensive measures to safeguard lives on the Ikuapem-Mampon Highway after a 26-year-old staff member was killed by a speeding vehicle.
Retired Supreme Court Judge Justice William Atuguba describes reasoning of the 5 Supreme Court judges in the vacant seat case as purely political.
Also coming up tonight, Electoral Commission says decision to reprint ballot papers for Ahafo and Volta regions is to ensure professionalism and uphold global standards in the electoral process.
On the international front, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's certain war with Russia will end sooner than it otherwise would have done once Donald Trump becomes U.S. president.
We've got details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X. Let's begin from the Supreme Court, where a retired Supreme Court Judge, Justice William Atuguba, has described the reasoning of the 5 Supreme Court judges in the vacant seats case as purely political. Now, speaking on key points, the retired justice noted that but for political considerations, the judges would not have accepted jurisdiction for the case in the first place.
November 12th, the Supreme Court, by a 5-2 majority decision, upheld the suit filed by Alexander Apenyomarking, which argued that Speaker Alban Bagbin misinterpreted Article 97(1)G and H of the 1992 Constitution by declaring 4 seats vacant. In a 109-page ruling, the 5 justices stated that a Member of Parliament, MP, can only be considered to have vacated their seat if they change their political identity and remain in Parliament under the new identity. But the 2 dissenting justices believe the Apex Court did not have jurisdiction over the matter. One of the dissenting justices, Justice Tanko Amadou, noted that the plaintiff, having failed to properly invoke the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in terms of the relief sought, meant that their action failed at the threshold. Commenting on the Supreme Court's ruling on key points on November 16, Justice Atuguba said that the politicization of the judiciary started some time ago but has now reached its peak.
The heart of all this pretentious discussion going on, there's no true legality involved. It's just politics, that honorable type. All we are doing is the paramountcy of political partisanship. Party partisanship. That is what is controlling this country. If that is not addressed, we are just wasting our time. True law no longer will apply, where the basis of anything in this country is political, politically driven. That is the menace. Unless it's arrested, this menace, this vice will continue to fester, and constitutionalism will be subverted. Paid lip service to people suffer. In other words, we are not entitled to benefit from the constitutional order put in place for this country. That is the true situation. That's the true evil to be addressed.
He added that the Apex Court did not have original jurisdiction to hear the matter.
In a situation like this, they don't have original jurisdiction. What they have is a jurisdiction of reference. The subject matter belongs to the High Court. And the same Article 132 makes it clear that in a situation like that, they have only reference jurisdiction. But that issue has been addressed by Article 132, that where it arises in a matter belonging to another court, the Supreme Court only comes in when an interpretation or enforcement issue arises and is referred to the Supreme Court. That is the only time they can come in.
Describing the judgment as predictable, Justice Atiguba said it was predictable as the same 5 judges accepted jurisdiction. For private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, the fact that the senior-most justices of the Supreme Court were not empaneled by the Chief Justice to sit on the case of the vacant seat is worrying.
You see why then lawyers have raised arguments that this decision takes us back to the powers of the Chief Justice to empanel. Because doesn't it strike you that the senior-most judges were left out? You see, Bisansa Asari made that argument the last time. Bafu Boni, who is the most senior, yes, he is left out. Puaman, next, left out. The Chief Justice will sit down and look and see that those who think otherwise, okay, I will not empanel you. And so we'll select, devil selection, select those that will say yes. Yes, that's right. This is an analysis. You look and choose the ones that will go in your line.
Let's now go to the eastern region, where the tragic death of a 26-year-old midwife on the Kuapem-Mampon Highway has left her colleagues at the Tetequashe Hospital reeling with grief. Yvonne Nikwe reports that while their demand for road strips have been acknowledged, they are calling for more comprehensive actions from the Ghana Highway Authority.
Ruth Nate was fatally struck by a speeding vehicle as she was leaving work right in front of the Tetequashe Memorial Hospital. Following the incident, the grieving health workers staged a protest and called for urgent measures from the Ghana Highway Authority to curb speeding on the highway. Her death marks the 6th fatality related to accidents on the stretch of road. In response, road strips and signage have been installed to slow down speeding, but the health workers remain dissatisfied with the intervention because drivers continue to speed.
Letting the family know that she's on her way back home, and then this unfortunate thing happens. This loss is more than huge. Work has not been the same, and I don't think it will be the same. There is more to be done. This is not what we requested for. It's just like pushing the food on the table. This is what you asked for, so they just brought it, but this will not do. Just this morning, several cars have sped over it. Whatever they did has worn off, and the cars have resumed their old habits. The drivers, they are overtaking and doing the old things.
And the little intervention they have done has slowed down the speed of the passing vehicles, but we think there is more to be done. The aspiring MP, Honorable Samuel Uku, has also promised that he will make sure that a footbridge is constructed to eliminate total knockdown of staff and patients of the institution. You slow down 50 kilometers approaching a city or a town. We have done this, but those with the 4-wheel and other big vehicles, they are still speeding on.
Ruth Nate was laid to rest on Saturday, while her colleagues continue to push for lasting solutions to the dangers on the highway. Her devastated colleagues paid their last respect during her final burial rite.
It's exactly 3 weeks until the general elections, and the La General Hospital project site remains deserted weeks after TV3 reported that work had been halted. Now, residents are appealing to the government to fulfill its promise of completing the project before the elections.
On October 28, TV3 reported that work at the La General Hospital redevelopment project had halted and that workers had deserted the site over an alleged shortage of funds. In response, the Ministry of Health clarified that work had not halted, but rather The contractor is awaiting payment to resume work in line with standard operational procedures for all government projects. It's been over 2 weeks since the report, and the workers have yet to return to the site. TV3's visit to the site on Thursday, November 14, found the yard still empty. Perhaps the contractor is still waiting to receive the funds from the government. Meanwhile, the helpless residents can only plead for the basic amenities they desperately need.
It's worrying us a lot because when someone is sick now, we need to rush the person to police hospital or rich hospital. By the time we might get there, the person is gone. So if he wants us to vote for him or he wants us to support him, then we just need him to finish our hospital.
People from Osu, Labadi, Teshinungwa, they all come here. But it has caused a lot of inconvenience for people. I don't think it will be happening soon.
Since the demolition, we have been struggling to access health care. He should do it for us before he leaves.
Ima, a 91-year-old grandmother who has lived in the area her entire life, could not fathom the situation.
It's not the best. First, it was easy to access healthcare. They were working. Now they said money is finished. All we want is for the project to be completed.
She's not alone. Auntie Rahel, another resident, also appealed to the president to be honest with them about the status of the project.
Work has halted. They should tell us what's happening. We can see that it's not possible for them to complete it for us.
Meanwhile, TV3 has learned that President Akufo-Addo plans to visit the project site on Tuesday, November 19. Sarah Apenkro, TV3 News, Accra.
This is your Election Command Center. The Electoral Commission has been forced to reprint ballot papers for their Ahafo and Volta regions. This follows the identification of wrong serial numbers on both the presidential and parliamentary ballot papers for both regions. At an emergency IPAC meeting held on Friday, the Commission said it will invite party agents and security on an agreed date to discard the ballot papers.
This is a spike in the effort of the Electoral Commission to deliver electoral material timeously across the country. The Commission started the nationwide distribution of the ballot papers a few days ago, with the Greater Accra region in the lead. The timelines for the distribution may be altered now.
Whilst the printing of the ballots have gone down very well, the challenge faced by the Commission has been with the serialization of the numbers on the ballot papers. Gaps still exist, and the Commission has taken the decision to recall the ballot papers for the Ahafo and the Volta regions.
What the EC has told the political parties is that it would communicate with them a date and then a time for the destruction of these ballot papers that it has recalled.
We wish to inform you that we will share the printing timetable with you. The plans for the recall and disposal will also be shared with you soon.
It was expected that this will be met with mixed reactions. Political parties are satisfied but want the EC to ensure there is trust.
So it isn't that the Electoral Commission is different to us, but they themselves went and saw it and realized that, look, these ballots cannot be used for purpose. It will compromise the integrity of the election. When we raised the issue of the summaries, Now everybody is benefiting from the summaries.
We don't have any issue except that it came to us as an emergency issue to be discussed. Parties have little to say to that. So it could have come to us as letters to or notification to political parties. We make arrangements for our agents to be there. But what needs to be done is that those that have been printed, you want to ensure that proper actions are taken.
The Commission has now tasked Bax Press to reprint the presidential and parliamentary papers for the Ahafo region, while ACT Commercials will take charge of the Volta region ballot papers. Earlier, the EC was forced to replace Yasako Press with 2 other printing firms following a faulty equipment during the process. Christian Yale, TV3 News.
In other election-related stories tonight, the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says he will set up solar farms in every district to harness solar power and integrate it into the national generation mix. Now, addressing the chiefs, clergy, and the people of Joaso in the Asante Achim South constituency, Dr. Bawumia indicated that solar power would help augment the power distribution in the country.
Candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, was welcomed by the chiefs, clergy and Muslim clerics of Joaso in the Asante Achim constituency. He assured the gathering that he would set up solar farms in every district to address the power challenges in the country.
I will introduce a new initiative aimed at reducing the cost of light bills across the country. Our goal is to harness the power of solar energy to generate electricity, and we plan to achieve this by setting up solar farms in every district. This innovative approach is expected to reduce the cost of electricity by a significant 50%, making energy more affordable and accessible to all.
The electricity form by 50% at least reduction in the cost of electricity.
Later, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia addressed party faithful at the Bawumia Connect. He emphasized that former President John Dramani Mahama is not a good option for Ghanaians.
When I asked the former president about his presidential initiatives in the past, he couldn't name a single one. It's no wonder he's avoiding a debate.
The parliamentary candidate for Joaso in the Asante Achim South constituency, Asante Boateng, criticized former President John Dramani Mahama for his governance. He called on the electorate to vote for him and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
Mama, what do you want the
Considering Mahama's poor performance in the previous elections, I urge you to disregard him and instead vote for Bawumia as president and me as your MP.
The MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, appealed to the people to put the development of the country in his hands.
Elect me and I promise to return an account for all the good works I will have done. So please give me the opportunity to serve you.
Away from the NPP, the Bupeura Abdullahi Jinapor II has charged the people of the North not to allow themselves to be used by politicians to foment trouble in this year's elections. He also urged the Electoral Commission to conduct a free and fair elections to avoid chaos. The Bupeura was speaking when the vice presidential candidate of the NDC, Professor Nana Jane, called on him at his palace.
Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman and the campaign team were received with a rousing welcome at the palace. The Bupeura, through his spokesperson, called for peaceful elections.
Election 2024 is barely 21 days ahead of us. The outcome of the election will be a victory for Ghana and North in Kenya. I want to appeal to all sons and daughters of the North not to allow themselves for politicians to use them to distract the elections 2024. So I am appealing to the Electoral Commission to conduct a very peaceful election for the people of Ghana by being fair, transparent to all political parties, because this year's election is very crucial.
Former NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo and the running mate Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman were grateful for the warm reception and expressed particular appreciation to the Savannah region for producing John Mahama, whom they described as respectful and truthful.
I'm extremely grateful and excited that they have produced a leader such as John Mahama for this time. Its achievements are known to all of us. So I don't need you. I thank you especially for somebody who cares for others, for somebody who is sensitive, for somebody who is respectful.
I cannot wait to see the day the first female vice president and the president will be talking. I believe that over 51% of the Nigerian movement, Excellency Professor K. will be a fighter for president.
Professor Nana Jane later addressed the charged crowd as Bupe during a campaign launch by the MP for Yape Kusogu, John Abdullahi Jinapo.
It is possible to send old people to go and beg for their own money. It is possible for children to be born without vaccines. It is possible for businesses to collapse. It is possible to inflict hardships on this country. So the choice is ours.
The MP for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, described John Jinapo as an energy and financial wizard.
John Jinapo, I call him Abu in the name of his father. When I was a minority leader, John Jinapo is not only knowledgeable, but dependable and reliable. John Jinapo is not only an energy witch, but a financial witch.
Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has since completed her Savannah regional campaign tour.
Elsewhere, an independent candidate vying for the parliamentary seat in Wasa-Amenfi Central, Dr. Karl Mark Ahin, has publicly endorsed the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the area, Joanna Jan Kujo. Dr. Karl Mark Ahin was addressing a mini rally held at Chekrom in the Amenfi Central constituency to welcome their national chairman, Johnson Esiedun-Ketia.
The independent vying for the parliamentary seat in Wasa-Amenfi Central, Dr. Karl Mark Ahin, revealed he was once a caretaker for Jan Kujo.
I am thrilled to announce that I am stepping down from the parliamentary race in Amenfi Central. The landlady has returned, and it's none other than Madam Joanna Jan Kujo.
The national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Esiedun-Ketia, said allowing Dr. Ahin to run as independent was a strategic move, not as a result of internal conflict or disagreement within the party.
Independent party panimfo and
in our party, it's unheard of for someone to run as an independent candidate, but we made an exception this time. Our national executives decided to support Dr. Karl Mark Ahin's independent candidacy due to the prolonged cut processes. We believe the NPP was behind the delays, thinking that without Joanna Jan Kujo, we wouldn't have a candidate in the constituency, giving them an easy win for the first time since 1992.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedun-Ketia, has reaffirmed his party's commitment to developing the Western Rail Lines. Speaking at a mini rally in Esuosu in the Takwa constituency, as part of his 3-day campaign tour in the Western region, Nketia emphasized that the NDC is the only party willing to invest in this critical infrastructure.
President John Dramani Mahama.
Asen Central Member of Parliament Kennedy Ohene-Japan has urged the electorate to help protect the free senior high school policy by voting for Dr. Bawumia in the upcoming elections. The legislator made this known at Gumwa Fete as part of his campaign tour of the Gumwa East constituency.
Central Member of Parliament Kennedy Ohene-Japan urged the constituents to vote massively for Kojo Asemenyi to be re-elected as the incumbent NDC MP Desmond Peito has failed to deliver.
Only MP Obetini Abwa Dr. Bawumia ama so higher possible honorable Asemenyi.
The only person who can help Dr. Bawumia achieve his goal of maintaining free SHS is Honorable Asemenyi, so I urge you to trust them. The NPP parliamentary candidate Kojo Asemenyi criticized the NDC MP for his abysmal performance. If you don't vote for Bawumia, who else will you vote for to support development in your area? Is there any candidate with a strong track record of driving growth and progress?
Remind us to watching News 360, our major news bulletin for the day. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. Now to Constituency Watch, where the Crowor constituency remains one of the swing constituencies in the Greater Accra region. It's been a notable political battleground in the country's electoral history, as both the NPP and the NDC compete fearlessly to win the people's mandate.
The NDC has won 4 out of 7 elections since Ghana returned to constitutional rule in 1992. In the 2020 general elections, Madam Agnes Namomolate of the NDC ousted Madam Afolikwe of the NPP. She remains positive to be retained in the upcoming December 7 general elections. The upcoming December 7 polls promises to be a fascinating showdown in Crowor, as the two main contenders have adopted diverse tactics to win the seat. NPP parliamentary candidate Engineer Emmanuel Odailaye is poised to win the seat for the NPP and has adopted a door-to-door campaign to engage the constituents. The civil engineer is said to have spearheaded the construction of some major roads in the constituency to ease the gridlock. He told the news team that nothing can change his victory in the elections.
It will never happen. If that's their dream, then they should forget it. God is going to do it. And it is written already. I don't see myself really in competition. I see myself as the next MP for Nuwa. And that one, nobody can take it out.
The incumbent NDC Member of Parliament, Dr. Agnes Namomolate, on the other hand, has embarked on a community engagement where she accounts for her stewardship to the people. She equally expressed optimism in the people to retain her in the December 7 polls.
I trust God that I'm going to win by His grace overwhelmingly. He always does it exceedingly, abundantly, above and beyond my imagination. And I know He will do it again. I've always had this quote that the latter glory will usually always.
Meanwhile, the constituency lacks proper road network as the Nungwatama Beach Road awarded in 2020 has stalled. The constituents shared with the news team what would inform their decision to vote for a particular party come December 7.
And looking at currently what we are experiencing now is like we are having a deficit in development. I quite remember when Honorable Afoli was around, she started some project. I'm a Zongo boy, so she started a project in Nungwa Zongo. And currently, after she was voted out, we've not had any improvement in that structure that was being put up, the Makaranta, to be precise. And I was thinking probably our current MP could even add 1 bag of cement to, at least do something, but it has stalled.
For Crowor, when you talk of developmental projects, the MC is also doing his best, who is an appointee from the government. So at the end of the day, everybody, all the stakeholders who played part in government are actually putting their hands on deck to bring development and also improve in the lives of the people. So these are some of the things that will actually inform me to actually give my nod to the party.
Reminder, still watching News 360, our major news bulletin for the day. We're going to go for a quick break now. We'll return with some more stories.
Dr. Baumia once said,
teachers are suffering, teacher trainees are suffering, nurses are suffering, and nursing trainees are suffering, patients are suffering, students are suffering, traders are suffering, pensioners are suffering, drivers are suffering, contractors are suffering, civil servants are suffering, and farmers are suffering. Fishermen are suffering, and industries are suffering. Artisans are suffering, and Kayaye are suffering. The disabled are suffering, and men are suffering. Women are suffering, and children and Ghanaians as a whole are suffering.
Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply.
5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Darling natural twists blend with her hair over time.
Yeah, that's perfect.
She's really more beautiful every week. Darling natural twists get better every day, just like you.
Under the MPP, we have arrested the rapid depreciation of the city.
A nose-diving currency.
Why are you running?
Which has rather arrested the person who said he would arrest, he had arrested it.
I understand.
The dollar has rather arrested him. And so we're looking for him, we can't find him. I asked the IGP if he had the key so that we could find where our Vice President was, and he said he doesn't have it.
I understand.
I'm still amazed by the stuff that comes out of your mouth.
Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Let's continue with the rest of our stories. And cocoa farmers and some communities within the Adansa Square district of the Ashanti region have begun to see growth in yields after being introduced to climate-smart cocoa agroforestry. This intervention has not only increased their revenue, but also helped reduce the emission of greenhouse gases, thus contributing to environmental preservation.
Applying good agronomic practices should get a farmer at least 8 bags of cocoa beans on an acre, according to experts. But most Ghanaian cocoa farmers are harvesting way below that number. Akono has for the past 10 years been getting less than 5 bags on an acre.
We do have 1 bag the whole year.
Some farmers get just 1 bag on an acre. I am even doing better. I get between 3 and 4 bags in a year.
Many more cocoa farmers in Adansi Asqua and other parts of the country suffer the same fate. But the introduction of Akono to climate-smart cocoa agroforestry has become a game changer to him and other colleague farmers. As part of a Danish-funded research project jointly undertaken by Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and some professors from Denmark, USA and Australia, the farmers were exposed to an environmentally friendly way of making a compost from the cocoa husk and leaves.
We are trying to, one, improve the soil structure using the materials from farmers' field. Two, we are also trying to improve their yield, and at the same time, we are trying to help reduce the impact of climate change on our cocoa farms.
There's a lot of underutilized resources in the environment that, with a little skilled help of making compost and biochar, can be created into fertilizers of high value.
Akono now appears to be heaving a sigh of relief.
From September, but year 5.
I've seen a sharp increase in my yields after applying what the scientists taught us. From September to November alone, I've gotten 5 bags. This means by April next year, I would have gotten additional 5 or more bags. Now I don't even spend on buying fertilizers because I do the compost on my own.
With Ghana struggling to achieve its cocoa production target of 1 million tons, the district cocoa board officers are seeing a huge potential in the research project.
You could see some small insects. They are called midges. They are very beneficial to increasing the yield of cocoa because they help in pollination. So from here, we are going to replicate this compost making in other farms.
Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Adansi Asqua, Ashanti region.
And between January and October 2024, Ghana recorded 658 fire outbreaks, up from 569 during the same period in 2023. Now, speaking at the national launch of the 2024-2025 Bushfire Prevention Campaign, the Chief Fire Officer, Julius Kuno, attributed the rise in fires across the country to human negligence.
Over the years, Ghana has faced several devastating fire outbreaks. The most recent occurred on November 14 at Circle in Accra, where hundreds of structures were completely destroyed by fire. Many have pointed to the fire service delayed response as a result of inadequate fire tenders, hydrants, and outdated firefighting equipment. This contributed to the increase in fire outbreaks, particularly in 2023 and 2024. At the Bushfire Preventing Campaign launch, Chief Fire Officer again emphasized that human negligence was behind the surge in fire incidents.
In 2023, we recorded the highest increase that there was an increase against the previous year, which we recorded 569.
The fire officer cautioned the public against using flammable materials in inappropriate places.
The yearly destruction includes burning of farmlands and farm produce, death of animals and human beings, burning of the forest cover and homes. We cannot continue to sit on the fence as objects and allow this yearly menace to continue.
Minister for the Interior, Henry Korti, assured the public that the fire service is prepared to tackle outbreaks but needs more support from the public.
Ghana National Fire Service has worked hard over the years to keep our forests and farmlands safe by responding to all bushfire incidents that occurred in our various communities.
To bolster the fire service capacity, 19 pickup vehicles and 4 command vehicles have been donated to improve response time, particularly in forest areas.
Ahead of the December 7 general elections, Ghanaians have been urged not to let multi-party politics cause division or conflict, but rather to see elections as a way to choose the best leaders to move the country forward. The Bono Regional Minister, Justina Owusu-Banahene, gave the advice at the opening of the 22nd National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, NALAG Conference in Sunyaning.
You all are aware that we are in an election year. We have chosen democratic path of governance, and therefore, in line with the 1992 Constitution, we go to the polls on 7th December in every 4 years to elect the president and the members of parliament. We must understand that politics is about resources distribution and not for a do-or-die affair. We must therefore exercise caution to guide against any form of provocative talk and behavior that will cause mayhem in our country. Let us continue to embrace peace for Ghana to remain a beacon of democracy and peace in the West African sub-region, if not Africa as a whole. In view of this, I wish to use this platform to make a passionate appeal to delegates to work in concert to preach peace before, during, and after the general elections. This is the only country we have, and we need to protect it for generations yet unborn.
We have sports news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
Oh, Mansa, what is happening?
Sit down.
Mansa, why is your shop so empty?
You have reminded me of my sorrow. You were with me when I went to the bank for a loan to establish this place. The bank is chasing me for their money now. The interest alone is 40% every year. I can't restock because of the exchange rate. Today the dollar is 15, tomorrow 16, and it's even getting to 17. Why? The price of an item, 1 cedi today, 10 cedis tomorrow. The numerous taxes, high electricity and water bills are killing me. I can't plan, I can't save, I can't even repay my loan. All my capital is gone. Oh! Who will save me out of my misery? It's okay. I'm suffering. Where is help?
Okay. Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
I'm a Ghanaian and I love luxury accredited faith. And I love democracy.
December 7th, Ghana is voting.
Only peace. Peace, I give it to you all.
I love Ghana.
Peaceful election before, during, and after.
One Ghana.
Peace. Peace to everybody.
One Ghana. Ghana.
This message brought to you from the luxury accredited faith.
Champion.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News360. My name is Billy Shen. Now on to our first story. Hours since Ghana's potential qualification for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations went up in smoke, Ghanaians have been waiting for a response from the Ghana Football Association. That response has not yet come, but with the game against Niger set to happen on Monday, veteran football analyst Sami Bartels has called on the football governing body of Ghana to do the honorable thing, that is, apologize to Ghanaians. He spoke on Warm Up Plus earlier on Saturday.
Lack of accountability. I have to say this again. Many people are responsible for positions, but very few people are accountable. It's a classic case with the FA president and the culture that the GFA has now. You can't explain away everything. That's why this inability to qualify is good for Ghana football. Because if we had qualified, we got away with it again. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And we are treating as they say, a man with a hammer treats every problem like a nail and hits it. We kind of like have deployed the same situation. The national team has become over-branded with very little value or depth in terms of performance. If you want pause to reflect, circumstances will force you to reflect. And now, well, as somebody said, maybe we've just been saved 20 million budget we spent by people, right? That will cause you to pause and reflect on the next steps that will be taken.
Yeah.
And if the coach is going, some other people might as well go along. And
Yeah.
you know, I agree with the cause. The people around the FA, the people in the FA, the people who could have called for an extraordinary Congress, I know would not dare to raise issues with the administration of football in the country for fear of whatever. So we might have to ride this through. Even if they qualify for the World Cup, it would still not cure what is really an endemic problem within Ghana football.
Yeah.
So I'm really, and when I raised it on Twitter, people said, you still want him to apologize. Well, I know he won't resign. So he should apologize.
Yeah.
For us to move forward, the FA has to come back with a plan.
Indeed, the FA has to come up with a plan. But Ghana's failed qualification run to an AFCON for the first time in 2 decades remain fresh in the minds of every Ghanaian football stakeholder. And the blame has been going around as multiple factions have called for sackings and resignations of those involved. But General Manager for MG Sports, Michael Otieje, thinks the GFA President, Keto Kreku, should shoulder most of the blame for this disaster.
Part of this inevitably has to be on Mr. Keto Kreku, maybe from journalism school, who has supervised, you have to say, the West Period, as far as the last class is concerned, in the modern era. And I think this is not just an opinion, this is something based and based in the numbers and rooted in the record of the last class over the period. You know, we've not been to a semi-final under Kate. We used to take that for fun. In fact, in 1992, when we returned to the Nations Cup after having missed it from 1986 to 1992, we reached the final and lost to Ivory Coast. In 1994, we were quarter-finalists when we were beaten by Ivory Coast. They were just such big nemesis for us. In 1996, we were semi-finalists. Then in 1998, we didn't get out of the group stage. Then in 2000, we were quarter-finalists. Then in 2002, we were quarter-finalists. So we were either there or not. From 1992, we were the only black blood in 2004. And then from 2004, we rectified it. Look, it's I think that to understand the genesis of it, I said on Friday that this is the culmination, I personally think, of one bad decision after the other.
Well, let's look into perspective here. Since Keto Kreku was appointed the GFA president in 2019, he's appointed 4 managers of the Black Stars. Now, here are the records of each manager. James Kwesi Appiah, of course, was there before Keto Kreku came in and managed for 2 matches, getting 100% win rate in those 2 matches before he was sacked. And now Keto Kreku's real appointments started with CK Akono. 10 matches, 4 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses. That's a 40% win rate. Milovan Rajevac in his second coming, 8 matches, 3 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses, 37.5% win rate. There's also Chris Hutton, 13 matches, 4 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses, 30.8% win rate. And Otuado at both stints combined, 21 matches, 6 wins, 8 draws, 7 losses, 28.6% win rate. So you can see the win rates have been dropping as each manager was picked. Let's move on to the Ghana Premier League, where Nsoatreman FC's winless run extended to 4 matches after a 1-1 draw with the Aduana Stars in a fiercely contested regional derby on Saturday. The Ghana Premier League Matchday 11 fixture held at the Nana Amoah the second park showcased moments of brilliance but ended in a stalemate. Despite failing to capitalize on their home advantage, Nsoatreman maintained their remarkable unbeaten record at home, now stretching to 13 matches. Aduana, on the other hand, extended their unbeaten streak to 4 games, keeping their recent form intact. Accra Lions are also currently playing against Pando Heart of Lions. Now that's it for the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen, and the bulletin continues after this.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you. New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey. SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Dr. Baumia once said,
teachers are suffering. Teacher trainees are suffering. Nurses are suffering. And nursing trainees are suffering. Patients are suffering. Students are suffering. Traders are suffering. Pensioners are suffering. Drivers are suffering. Contractors are suffering. Civil servants are suffering. And farmers are suffering. Fishermen are suffering. And industries are suffering. Artisans are suffering and Kayaye are suffering. The disabled are suffering and men are suffering. Women are suffering and children and Ghanaians as a whole are suffering.
Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Come on. Let's go.
Darling natural twists blend with her hair over time.
Yeah, that's perfect.
She's really more beautiful every week. Darling natural twists get better every day, just like you.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil, powered by 3 Entertainment.
Tonight in this segment, the rector of the University of Media Arts and Communications Institute of Film and Television, Professor Samuel Manasseh Irinchi, says his vision is to make IFT, formerly NAFTI, an internationally known film and television institute. He hopes to achieve this through collaborations to equip students with the skills to churn out quality productions and tell compelling stories to advocate for social change.
Our vision is to make IFT one of the internationally known film and television institutes. It's one of my passions.
And how are you hoping to achieve that?
Such collaborations, networking, the quality of the films that we produce, student production, the quality of the researches that the lecturers embark on, and the quality of student work that we churn out.
Professor Samuel Manasseh Irinchi pointed out that the University of Media Arts and Communications Institute of Film and Television, UNIMAC IFT, is focusing on training students to use film as a tool to advocate for change and development.
So we use film to advocate for change and other things. That's how I want to see the whole thing, so that we will not be concentrated on love. You see, we're talking about Ghana, we say, how can we use film as a tool for change, as a tool for development?
He challenged lecturers to embrace high academic standards in order to equip students with the right skills to tell compelling stories that resonate with audiences globally. Another area of focus is student productions. Professor Samuel Manasseh Irinchi revealed plans to reintroduce the Institute's flagship program, Time with NAFTI, to spotlight present social issues and, most importantly, drive change.
Those are watching Time with NAFTI. Where is it now? My students, I really want them to compete. We have the facilities. Why are you not talking about social issues? Galamsey, why can't we talk about it? We can be at the forefront of all these things. That we also project ourselves. There are so many social issues around. We want to direct our focus on those things.
We'll now go for some sport of international news.
Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky says he is certain the war with Russia will end sooner than it otherwise would have done once Donald Trump becomes U.S. president. Zelensky said he had a constructive exchange with Trump during their phone conversation after his victory in the U.S. presidential election. Trump has consistently said his priority is to end the war and stop what he says is a drain on U.S. resources in the form of military aid to Ukraine. Russia's state-owned natural gas company, Gazprom, has stopped supplies to Austria early Saturday, according to the Vienna-based utility OMV, after OMV said it would stop payments for the gas following an arbitration award. The official cut-off of supplies before dawn Saturday came after Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer on Friday held a hastily called news conference to emphasize his country has a secure supply of alternative fuel for this winter. Thousands of escaped residents of the besieged town of Al-Hilaliyah in Sudan's El Gezira state have tested positive for cholera, in a development that provides a likely explanation for the protected deaths of hundreds there. While local activists say that more than 300 people have died, a group of Hilaliyah residents in the diaspora provided to Reuters a list of more than 400 fatalities, a number they say is increasing by the hour. The UN said earlier this week that there was a suspected cholera outbreak among people who escaped Eastern Gezira, one of several across the country, but did not specify Hilaliyah.
Before we go, you've got to stay informed with the latest news, updates, and exclusive videos by following us on Instagram. That's at 3news.gh. Get breaking stories, code cards, and behind-the-scenes content all in one place. Don't miss out. Follow at 3news.gh now. And that's all for News 360. Thanks very much for watching. For more news, you can log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesi Asari.
And I am Portia Gabo. Good evening.